Hey everyone, it's Mike. Before we start the episode, I have a cool question to ask. Do you own a brewery? Do your customers love trivia as much as I do? Well, then you better listen up. Because Geeks Who Drink weekly trivia nights are the cornerstone of event programming for over 650 breweries and bars nationwide. Geeks Who Drink trivia is consistently fun and low-effort way to build a community of regulars because we all need our norms, cliffs, and all that, but we want to bring more people in as well. So you can even turn that slow weeknight into the busiest night of the week. So get started with this exclusive offer for my taproom listeners and get your first quiz night free. Go to geekswhodrink.com/taproom and enter promo code taproom. That's geekswhodrink.com/taproom, promo code taproom. And now onto the episode.
All right, and we're back. This is episode 78. Yes, 78. I was like, wait a second, what episode number is it again? Closing in on 80. But yeah, we're back. I'm your host, Mike. Oh man, it's been a busy week. Work's been crazy. I'm actually going to, after this, I'm recording this on a Saturday. I'm going to go hang out, go get a couple beers over at Green Cheek. They have a new West Coast out, so I gotta go pull the trigger on that one. Noble, gonna go down to Noble as well, because I forgot to get one of their root beer stouts. So I was like, man, I gotta go get at least a 4-pack. So, and also their Felt Independent and one of their, I think their Colada Pina. I'm gonna get one of those for my cousin. But yeah, so it's been a good week. Hope you guys enjoyed episode 77 with Sorry We're Drunk. Cindy, Bree, Rosie, thank you again. You guys are great. This week's episode is with Brett Danielson. He's the CEO and co-founder of BarTrack. What a really great guy. And like the kind of technology that they use now, to help craft breweries or to help, being in the beverage business. And I don't want to spoil too much, so I won't get too into it, but it's a really cool company. And if you have a brewery out there and you listen to this episode, you definitely got to get in touch with them. Because of what they do, they truly care about the product, that gets, put into the consumer's hands and are a big part of the craft beer community. So definitely check them out, and I hope you guys enjoy that part. Let's see, what else we got this week? So week 1, technically, of preseason football. I got to watch a little bit. I saw J-Love, my boy J-Love, throw a pretty big bomb for a touchdown right at the beginning of the Packers' first preseason game. I mean, it's hard to get too like excited about preseason, but I mean, football's back. It's, it's fun times. And we're literally 2 weeks away. I was actually just texting with Art a little bit ago, LA_BrewLife. We were texting about college football. And man, that's going to be, 2 weeks from today. It's week 0. I mean, there aren't any real marquee games, but it's still football. And college football will be back. I'm excited because I'm taking some days off too. Not off the podcast, but just taking some days off of work because it's been really, really busy. So that week, I think I only work Monday, Tuesday, and then I'm off until the following Tuesday. So pretty stoked about that. College football is back, baby. It's the best time of year. Yeah, what else we got? I was going to say, I know for episode 75, because I did get questions, and I had been meaning to do that on an episode. So I'm going to do that on the outro of this week's show. This one's going to be a little shorter, but we'll get into that. But this week, I did want to talk about, we did do a poll this week, and I asked about tailgating, and it said, what time do you start drinking? And the options were in the poll, 7 a.m. or earlier, 10 a.m., or 12 p.m. 51% of the vote was 7 a.m. or earlier. That's where I'm at. That's exactly where I would be. When we would go tailgating at the SC games, we'd get there really early, get there usually around 6 o'clock. We used to park in different places, but now we would always park on campus and just get obliterated, cook some food, make the drunk walk to the Coliseum, make the kind of day hangover or night hangover at that point, walk back to the car, and there was always an ice cold Gatorade waiting for us, or Powerade for that matter. And man, it was like, you never drink anything faster than you drink an ice cold Gatorade when you're hungover and you're walking back to the car from the Coliseum. It's a little rough. But yeah, that was the poll this week. Let's see. I did do a question. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, the question was Arthur Guinness signed a lease for his brewery in 1759. And how long was that for? The answers were 150 years, 9,000 years, 1,000 years, or 500 years. I was baffled by this answer because I didn't know it. I was just trying to think of a question to throw out there this week for the Geeks Who Drink weekly trivia. And this one, yeah, the answer, like, I'll say, I think it was 111 votes. No, sorry, 110 votes were 150 years. 50 votes were 9,000 years. 130 votes were 1,000 years. And for 500 years, it was 80 votes. And the answer was 9,000 years. I was like, holy shit. Like, that's crazy to me. But I just thought, I was like, man, it was kind of a fun thing. I was like trying to look up a question for trivia. I was like, man, what could it be? But yeah, 9,000 year lease. So I guess they don't have to worry about losing their lease anytime soon. Let's see. I know the Olympics have been going on. I haven't talked about it. I'm just not, honestly, I don't watch it as often. I watch a little bits and pieces when I can. But as of right now, I know the medal count as of today. China has the most golds at 39, but total medals, the United States is leading with 122 with 38 golds. So, and then I think it's with Australia with 18 golds, Japan 18 golds, France 16 golds. Yeah, like I said, I'm not the biggest Olympics person, but it's still, it's still fun to watch and still obviously want to support the country and stuff like that. So, all right. What else do I got? I think that's about it. This episode's a little on the shorter side, but like I said, I'm going to be answering those questions that you guys had because I think there's there's a lot of questions, but it was mostly like they were all like, some of them were really similar. So I'm going to answer about like 8 or 9 questions. But all right. I hope you guys enjoy the interview with Brett Danielson. Obviously, like I said, really great guy. We had a really fun conversation. We even had, I think just before the 18-minute mark, his cat joined the podcast. So we made a little joke about that. So, all right. Well, hope you guys enjoy the interview. Stay tuned for the outro with the questions. All right, guys, we're back in the tap room, and I am your host, Mike, and I have a very special guest on today. My guest is Brett Danielson, the CEO and co-founder of BarTrack Beer. What's going on?
Hey, how are you, man? Living the dream.
Oh yeah, same here. I'm glad we got to do this. I know we've been talking. I feel like I've been talking to Peyton for a while, and that's probably my fault. I've been so busy, but I'm glad we finally got to sit down and have a talk.
Yes, sir. Me as well. Very excited.
Awesome. So, BarTrack, I kind of find everything kind of fascinating. I remember when I first saw what you guys do and the entire process. Can you explain to my listeners what you guys do for the community?
We're a draft beverage monitoring company, right? And we focus kind of on 3 main pillars of our customer, which is we want to have delicious product, right? You want to have a great beer that you're going to have 2, hopefully 3, right?
Oh yeah.
Because it tastes so great. We want to make managers' lives easier, right? And the other thing is we want to make businesses as profitable as possible. And so those are the 3 things at a very high level that our business does. And we do it through innovative and proprietary beverage technology that allows us to gain access to that data so we can help make those improvements.
That's awesome. And how long have you been doing that?
We've been at this for a little more than 5 years now. So powered through COVID and all of that stuff. So it's been a wild ride for sure, but wouldn't trade it for the world.
Oh, I bet. And I bet that was probably, I'm sure it was difficult, especially during COVID, because a lot of places obviously were closed down. I guess depending on what part of the country you were in. But in California, it was like they shut down breweries for months on end. And it was just kind of crazy how everything happened. What was that like for your, for the business?
Yeah. Well, we're based out of the DC metro area. So it was very similar for us that it was for, all sorts of bad statistics, right? Like 30% of businesses in our area or restaurants and breweries and bars closed forever.
Yeah.
And so it was an uncertain time, right? For the industry, not my business, but for our industry and
for sure.
We're here to help. And it's hard to not feel for them, right? Because in restaurant, if you were to poll restaurant owners, they would tell you that most of them do it because of the passion for the industry, right? They love serving great food. They love the experience that people get when they go out to eat or drink. And I think that sucked a lot of energy out of the industry more than the loss of profit, if that makes sense. Like it
Yeah.
became so hard. It became so uncertain. And a lot of people from the outside looking in probably don't realize that it was like a 2.5 year period pretty much where there was uncertainty.
Of course.
I think even going into 2022, there were some shutdowns in our area. So, I think everybody's happy to be through that, but I think getting through it also presented its own unique challenges because right on the end of COVID, if you will, came inflation and came supply chain issues and all sorts of things for our industry that increased costs and made it hard for operators to operate. I mean, you've seen all the stats, right? Things have become more expensive and that sucks. But but we've gotten through it. The industry, thank goodness, has gotten through it. And I think 2024, at least in what we're seeing, is the beginning of a major turnaround for our industry and kind of getting back to what I would call 2019, where the skies look blue again.
Yeah.
They're investing in their business. They're investing in their markets. They're doing the right things because they know that people want to go back out. They know that people want to have that experience again. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time, I think, for our industry.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, it's finally starting to bounce back. And like, even though I feel like there are some times where you'll see like some breweries, like maybe either closing down or maybe not as many are opening, but the really good breweries are expanding.
Yeah, they're expanding. At least what we're seeing in our customer base is they're expanding in what we call brew pubs or outposts, where really they're acting as a full service restaurant. And that is a huge trend that we're seeing, and it buttressed the whole trend of restaurants going out of business, right? Where those restaurant breweries went into their place and took over those kitchen, those operations. I think that it's an amazing move for them. I think it's a smart move for them because at the end of the day, if you have food, right, now your beer costs are cheap, you got food, and you're catering to a whole different customer segment that you didn't cater to when it was just a beer hall or brewery with no food attached to it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. One thing I always like to, because I always love to ask, especially like when it's someone that, obviously you co-founded the company, like when did that thought process like begin for you? When did you start to think like, oh man, this is something we could actually make a viable business out of?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been an entrepreneur, always trying to invent different things, whether they're like little knickknacks that save me time all the way up to this company. And so I always knew that I wanted to do something working for myself, if you will, or start something to change the world. I think really for us as a group where we realized that we wanted to go forward with this was when we saw that there was nobody really addressing the market in a meaningful way.
Okay.
And we felt like it was almost like a calling for us. Like, hey, no one's doing this. Why? That like it's a hard problem to solve. Don't get me wrong, but there's so much value in it. And I think, my two business partners that started the company with me, like we loved going out. We fell in love with craft beer during the craft beer boom. Like the whole company was around helping breweries at the beginning, which is why we made it a quality focused product at first. Cause the beer is your brand, right?
Of course.
And if I have a bad drinking experience at the brewery, I'm not going to buy it at the bar. I'm not going to get a 6-pack at 7-Eleven or whatever. And so we focused on that customer for a long time. And it was great for us in hindsight because it allowed us to understand the product side better. Like what makes a good beer? What makes a good drinking experience? What are some issues that they face at restaurants, right? What are things that we can do to help that segment of the business? And obviously as things have transitioned, we've gotten into other segments and other types of businesses, but yeah, I mean, my love for breweries is still huge. I definitely go to breweries more than I would like to admit still even to this day. And I love the people there more than anything, I think is the biggest thing for me. Like there's something glamorous about going into a brewery and the way that the staff are like,
oh yeah.
Right. Like they're happy. They want to serve you a great product. It's more of like an informal thing. I don't know. I just love it. It's glamorous to me.
Oh, no, definitely it is. I mean, especially when you can go in there and like one of the things that too, I always like to talk about is like the beer education side, because if you can get somebody that, that knows their stuff and knows like, okay, you can tell them what kind of style you like, it just makes the experience that much better. But the craft beer community is literally like a family. And Yeah, it's so cool. And I mean, because there's like, for me, there's no other industry that's like that.
No, I couldn't agree more. And you said something that hit on something that I was thinking about earlier this week, which is like the knowledge around craft beer has
Hmm.
gotten so high, right? I
Oh
went
yeah.
to a craft brewery over the weekend and they asked me, what I liked. And then they explained what they were going to let me try in a way that was not like, try this IPA, try this
Yeah.
pill. Like it was a breakdown of what the beer was going to taste like, the flavor notes, what the CO2 per volume was. I mean, stuff that
Hmm.
I never had happen. I was like, man, I think every brewery should be doing this at this level. It's exciting. It's almost like, when a sommelier, comes to
Yeah.
people and is explaining like where the wine came from and, where the grapes were grown and all that. I mean, it's kind of like that now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's so cool. I mean,
Yeah.
and when you have something like that, it's like, man, because it makes you want to go back.
Yeah, exactly right. It's the camaraderie about being there. It's the experience. I'm obviously biased because I love beer, but I think
Hmm.
those things are what bring people back. I think those are the things that keep the industry alive, frankly.
Oh, 100%. And I know you said how much you love like craft breweries and stuff like that. Do you remember like the first beer or craft beer you ever had?
Oof.
I
No,
know it's a bloaded question.
I know. It's the first one maybe not, right? I was probably sometime in college, which those were hazy days,
Oh yeah.
I guess. But there where I went to college in Virginia, there was a brewery right in our town that was called Three Notched Brewery that we
Okay.
went to a lot, and they were great to us early on in our company as well. They gave us support. Love those guys, and their beer is amazing. They used to call it the Ghost of the 43rd. It was one of my
Okay.
favorites. They changed the name. I forget what it is because I don't live down there anymore. So I haven't had it in quite some time, but that would probably be my first. It was a pale ale. So not even an IPA. Uh,
Okay.
I really, though, nowadays have fallen in love with craft lagers and pilsners. That's kind of where my taste profile has gone over the last year or two.
I'm with you.
I can't get enough of those Czech style lagers or
Hmm.
it's just, they're so good.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. I mean, do you like what are some other breweries? Because you're in the DC area, you said, right?
yeah.
Okay. And so are there some breweries out there that you're, pretty fond of or that you
Oh
frequent?
yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, they're our friends now because we've lived
Yeah.
here for so long. So, I have a special connection with a lot of these guys and girls like, Solace, Aslan, Ocelot, Honor Brewing, Blue Jacket. I mean, I could name a million. Crooked Run,
Okay.
and I'm sorry if I missed anybody, out there. But like, I just love the beer scene out here. I think it's extremely underrated. I think we have a lot of folks that are brewing great product that because it's, not San Diego or
Hmm.
Denver, Colorado or, Northeast Portland, Maine, like we don't get the recognition for some of the product that's coming out of this area because it's great.
Yeah. I had a buddy of mine that I met through the craft beer community. He's out in West Virginia. He sent me one. It was a Country Roads. I think it was like the Timber Lager. I can't remember the Big Timber Brewing. I think it was.
I don't think I've had that one.
Yeah, it was a while back, but it was a pretty solid one. I mean, and he told me about Aslan too, and because I've never been out there, so I've only ever been to DC for like a football game.
Must have been a
But
long time ago if it was for a football game.
oh yeah, it was when USC was still like when like Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush, they played Virginia Tech.
There you go.
Yeah, so I went out there to watch that game with my dad. But the brewery he was telling about Aslan, I was like, oh man, it must be like whoever opened that brewery must love the Chronicles of Narnia. But then it was totally different than what I thought it was.
Yeah, it's their wife's last names is the origin of the name of the brewery. So it's that's
Yeah.
funny you went there with that.
Oh yeah, because I'm like such a like pop culture nerd. That's immediately where my brain goes.
Yeah. No, that's hilarious. And they're good people too. I mean, I think I said it earlier. I mean, that's the most underrated part of the business owners that own breweries is the vast
Hmm.
majority of them are good people.
Oh yeah.
And they're down to earth people, willing to talk to you, willing to give you advice. They want you
Hmm.
to be excited. I mean, it's a great industry. And I will say, like, there's a huge farm brewery culture out here too. I don't
Oh,
know if you
awesome.
guys have that in California, probably not, but like people that they have these big sprawling breweries that are acres big and they're attracting
Wow.
thousands of people, in there, like Bear Chase and Lark Brewing and two silos in our area where they're seeing thousands of people coming through their brewery on a weekend. I mean, it's crazy. So yeah, I mean, I love the beer scene out here. It's very underrated. It's got to be top 10 at least.
That's awesome. And I see that, I know you guys do quite often, like at least I see you guys have like almost like round tables, like video round tables, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to, for lack of a better term, like educate the industry about why these things are important. And we don't really do it for the business owners as much as we do it for the consumers, right? Like,
Okay.
I think it's important for the business owners to know this stuff, but most of them know, right?
Yeah.
Really, it's just to talk about like why these things are important, whether it be cleaning your lines, like something simple like that, or, understanding what a good tasting beer looks like, or I mean, just everything. I think our biggest thing as we got into this is we realized that a lot of people don't understand what makes a good beer, right? Especially on draft. Like when you combine the actual process of making a beer, which is really complex and hard, and then you add it to the complexity that is like draft beer, it's like Harry Potter for people. Like they don't understand, how much science goes into this and how hard it is. And I think that's what we try to really put on the forefront for folks, right? Like when you have a great beer at a bar, restaurant, brewery, stadium, wherever, so many people had to do a great job for you to have that great beverage.
Of course.
And I think it's important to highlight that and educate people on not only how hard it is, but when you drink a draft beer, it's usually better because it's not pasteurized, it's fresher, like all of those things. So yeah, I mean that we try to stay engaged, we try to stay top of mind, and we try to just educate the industry. It's our philosophy that, the more educated people can be about the industry and the products, the better our industry is going to be. So.
Oh, for sure. And I wanted to ask you too, when it comes to with BarTrack, like what was like, I'm sure there was a ton of R&D, right? Like in the initially, or what was that like for you guys?
It was a couple years of R&D.
Yeah.
I still remember the days we were talking about it just the other day. I think for the first 2 years of the company, we made, $500 a month, and that was our full-time job.
Wow.
So we weren't like bartending or doing other things on the side. I mean, we were just grinding it out 12 to, 18 hours a day, 7 days a week for $500 a month, not knowing if it was going to work. Like we didn't even know if we could make a product that could work for a while because we're a hardware and software company. I mean, the software is just as hard, but we knew the software part. It was, can we make a beverage sensor that no one's ever made before that's going to do all these things? I mean, and there was a lot of hard work and a lot of energy and research that went into that over the course of years. And, I always say we got lucky, but I mean, really luck is preparation meets opportunity. We worked our butts off and we had an opportunity and we seized it. So,
yeah, that's awesome. I mean, and that's like, when you're passionate about something, and clearly you could see it, like, the passion, and you can hear the passion in your voice and how much you care about it. I mean, especially about the community, even though I know you guys do like we work with other companies as well, but it's just, I mean, it's always nice to hear something like that. When someone truly cares, you can tell.
Yeah. I mean, I always, I come like from my philosophy is like, if you're not passionate about what you're doing, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And that's a crude way of saying it, but I mean, it's true. Like I love what I do. I love our industry. I love the people that I work with, that we built this business with every day. And I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't love it. And I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't feel passionate about it every day and wanting to wake up and wanting to get to work. And I tell every entrepreneur that if you're not passionate about whatever it is you're trying to do, and it's not the product, it should be the problem that you're passionate about. You should be passionate about solving the problem. If you're passionate about it, you're going to be successful. If you're not, and you're just passionate about making money, or you think your solution is cool, that's where you start to get into trouble.
Yeah.
You don't understand the problem. You can't define the problem really well. It becomes really hard to make good solutions to solve the problem. So.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and you guys have some, I know, like obviously quite a few like craft beer, like obviously breweries, and even like, all across the country now, right?
Yeah, we're in like 45 states in the lower 48, and we're in some islands in the Bahamas as well. But really,
that's awesome.
Been, oh boy, sorry, getting hijacked.
All right. That's okay.
Get out of here, buddy.
It's all good.
No, he loves me, this cat. Anytime I'm home, he bum rushes the camera. So,
oh, you're good. I could always, I can edit that out. So you're good.
If you want to use it, you can. I think it'd be funny either way.
Oh
So
yeah, I honestly I don't edit a ton, so like that's why I try to keep it like as like I like it to be as raw and and just like seem like a conversation. I mean I never want it to feel like an interview either.
no, you're good. And so you were talking about about where we are in the country. We're everywhere, just about every state organically. We've only targeted with people on the streets a handful of states. So it's really a testament to what our product can do and the industry focusing on solving, the issues of waste, right? I mean, with prices being higher, not only on breweries, but on bars and restaurants, they care a lot more about their profit now because there's not as much wiggle room in that margin.
Of course.
It's an unfortunate thing that's been to our benefit as a business, which, I hate to say it that way because I want the industry to succeed. I mean, I forget the statistic, but the hospitality industry is one of the largest employers of people in the country, if not the
for sure.
So I want it to succeed so badly just because of what it means to me and what it means to millions of people.
No, 1000%.
Yeah.
And if like so if a brewery wanted to, because I mean I do get a lot of breweries that listen to the show. If they wanted to reach out, what would be their best way to do that?
Yeah, go on the website and request a demo. If you reference the podcast, we'll hook you guys up with a nice discount as well. Anything we can do to support, fellow industry folks. And
awesome.
I think it's great what you're doing here. And, if we can be supportive to any of your listeners, we'd love to do that at the end of the day. And we are not a super salesy organization in the sense that if it doesn't make sense for you, we are not going to push you. So feel free to reach out and don't be scared, because we want to help if we can.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I mean, and that's like, I mean, I try to, like, for any business, like any, like, to help the craft beer community or to help the craft beer industry, or even if it's pop-ups or vendors, if they don't have a full kitchen, anything I can do to get the word out, I'll do it for them.
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. I mean, at the end of the day, we want to help, and I think we can. And we've have a lot of businesses that we've helped. And if we can help anybody out there that we're not helping already, I mean, we want to help. So
that's awesome. I mean, it's always great to hear that from a company, because sometimes you feel like, things can get lost in the shuffle. But like you said, you see, like, when you're obviously a clearly like genuine guy and a really nice person and really care about the community. So that's great.
Yeah, man, I grew up in this community, so I want to make sure it thrives. It's special to me. It's close
for
to heart. Yeah,
for sure. Also love to ask, because I mean, I also like this. They're almost like, especially when I'm talking to someone from out of state, I almost like it to be like travel as well, because if they do go out there, where should they go, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Are there any like hidden gems, like off the beaten path? Obviously, like DC, obviously there's the big touristy stuff, but is there any fun stuff maybe off the beaten path?
Oh man. So it's funny. I grew up in the DC metro area, and I think that anybody that grew up in this area would tell you when they were growing up here, they hated it and they couldn't wait to get the hell out of here. Right. And then as you get older, you realize that it is kind of great. Like you have a little bit of everything here. If you're a hiker and an outdoorsman, like we have one of the best national parks in the country. We're settled right next to the Appalachian Trail, which is one of the largest trails in the country as well. You got the Shenandoah National Park, which is amazing and beautiful, with natural slides and hikes, and it's beautiful. And then, if you're more of like a city goer, if you will, like you could literally do something different every day in DC for the rest of your life, whether you like museums, hospitality, nightlife. I mean, art galleries. I mean, I could name a million things. I guarantee DC at least one of them. I think that comes frankly because it's a really diverse city. We have a lot of embassies, a lot of foreign guests, if you will, like from other countries, that come here and are a part of the government, a part of those embassies. And I love that about our city. Like, I'm a huge foodie, right? So like I can go out to a different type of restaurant every single weekend if I wanted to. And the craziest part about it is I'm biased like crazy, but I feel like they do it really well in DC. I don't know if it's like something in the water or whatever it is, but the food is great. The hospitality is great. And the city is awesome too. For you, where do you live in California?
So I'm like kind of right smack in the middle between like Orange County and LA County.
Okay, nice. So, like LA's big city, big skyscrapers, the whole thing. Like, you come to DC, there are no skyscrapers.
Yeah.
it's a European city. So it's like kind of trippy in the sense that it's a huge sprawling city with millions of people, but like the tallest building's probably 100 feet tall, you know, or
Yeah.
tall. It's awesome. Hidden gems though, I was thinking about this as I was talking. They're for beer in particular.
Okay.
There's a place called King Street Oyster Bar that has a bunch of locations in this area. Not only is it a great bar, but they have one of like the most hidden gem beer lists. Like if you were to ask people around here, like, you know, what's a restaurant that has great beer? I bet you a lot of them are going to say that place because it has like some of the craziest craft beer that you can't find, and it's always on draft and it's fresh and good. I mean, that place is a gem for sure.
That's awesome. And it's always cool when you find those restaurants because obviously like you can't always go to like, you know, a brewery, like, you know, every day. I mean, as much as we'd love to, but you can find a place like that has a great tap list and you're like, oh, and it could be, you know, your go-to kind of place. So that's awesome.
And they rotate hard too, right? So like if you go in there once a week or whatever your frequency is, you're going to have something different that you can try.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And I know I don't want to keep you too long, but one thing I was up to ask as well is like, since you mentioned food, the best burger, are you a burger guy? I'm assuming.
I love a burger. I do.
Okay.
You don't get this fat from eating salads, I promise.
Oh, there you go. Love it. But it's like the best burger in DC.
So, oof. I can tell you my favorite burger. It's not in DC. It's like 10 minutes outside of DC.
Oh, that's totally fine.
At a place called Patsy's. It's in Tyson's Corner. They make an absolutely phenomenal bacon cheeseburger. I mean, it is
okay.
So good. I'd say that's probably my favorite.
Okay. Is it like a smash burger, like a normal, like a steakhouse burger? What kind of burger is it?
Yeah. So it's like what I would call like a normal burger, right? It's like half a pound, but they do have like another restaurant attached to that restaurant that makes a smash burger style one in the same flavor with the same sauce and everything. And it's fun to like do a taste test. I've done that before and it is tight, man. I prefer a smash burger at home when I'm making it. This place, Patsy's, man, and they have a couple other locations that serve this burger, and it is just unbelievable. The meat they're using is extremely high quality, and it's always cooked the way that you ask it to be cooked, which I find is a hard thing.
Oh, yeah.
Restaurants. So I'd say that's probably my favorite burger, and they have a good beer list there, and cocktails and the whole thing. So
awesome. Yeah. That sounds great. I mean, because I think it was 2005 when I was out there. But I mean, I think we stayed at like I don't even know if the hotel still runs. It was like the Mayflower Hotel. It was a long time ago, but that's beside the point. Well, since I brought up hamburgers, is that your favorite go-to thing to have with the beer? Or would you say like wings or tacos or what's kind of your go-to with the beer?
That's a good question, man. I don't know. I think because I'm such a big beer lover, like I drink beer with everything. So I don't know what my favorite thing is. I think it more depends on like the genre of food, right? Like
that's true. That's very true.
I love lagers and pilsners, I mentioned earlier, but I also like have had every type and style of IPA that exists, right? You know, so I would say it's across the board. I mean, with a burger, I'm probably drinking an IPA, hazy IPA.
Okay.
Really going for the high calorie, you know, walk out of there feeling bloated, kind of feeling.
Yeah. I feel you.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I'll try something new if I see something new that I haven't had before. You know, if I'm looking to keep it light, I'm going with, you know, a Czech lager or a German Pilsner or something light like that. Or if I'm, you know, feeling frisky, I might go the sour route. I mean, I don't have one thing where I'm like, oh, I won't drink that. You know, I drink everything.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah. And I enjoy everything too, I should say. I don't just drink it. I enjoy it. Right.
Yeah. I mean, as long as it's done right, it's probably going to be good.
Exactly. I think that's a great way of putting it. Like, I like beers that are done right. You know, like if it's true to style, whatever that style is, and it's brewed well, I'm going to like it. I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why I got the Men's Warehouse song because it's not the song, the slogan. It was like, you're going to love the way you look. I guarantee it. This isn't an ad for Men's Warehouse, but but it just popped in my head.
I love it. I guarantee it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, because there's so much care and there's so much love that gets put into the beer. I mean, and that's why, like, you know, there's times where people say I'm too nice when it comes to the beer thing. It's like, I'm not going to shit on somebody's hard work. I'm sorry. I won't. If I don't like it, I just won't talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, these folks that are brewing beer and that create the breweries, most of them are not doing it because they want to get rich, right? They're doing it because they love beer.
Exactly.
And I do agree with that. Like there are plenty of beers that I've had that are bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this is a huge caveat: is when you have a bad beer, don't judge the brewery for that beer, right? Because
Yeah.
there are things that could have happened to make that beer bad, right?
Yeah.
Like the draft systems it's on is not clean. The CO2 is not at the right pressure. The temperature is wrong, so it's causing degassing and it's leaving the faucet flat. Like there's all sorts of things that could happen along that beer's journey, whether it's at the bar or before the bar, that could cause that drinking experience to not be ideal. So if you have a bad drinking experience, still try that beer again, because it could have just been the circumstance, not
Yeah.
the beer, right?
Yeah. And maybe try it after they've used BarTrack.
Hey, amen to that, brother.
There you go.
Yeah.
One last thing, because you mentioned like you and so it was you and your buddy that started it, right? With the
Yeah, two of
co-founders?
my friends. Yep. Yeah, three of us.
Okay, the three of us. So did you guys, were you guys all in college together?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's how we met. Yeah.
Awesome. So, I mean, this may be like an on-the-spot question, but it just came to my head. Like,
Yeah,
do you have any fun, like tailgating stories or anything like that? Because I'm like, anything like that?
Yes. that I can talk about. I don't know. Yeah, man. I mean, we went to James Madison University in Virginia, which, I bleed purple. I love the school, and everybody that goes there loves the school too. And we had a blast, man. And we are a little different than most, I think, where a lot of our friends were drinking liquor, to have fun, like the Admiral or, something super that you don't have to pay more than $8 for. Like because we were starting the business at that time, we were drinking craft beer. So we had numerous fun times of drinking, or I should say doing too much research and development.
Gotta love it.
My funniest story maybe is we had one or too many, and we were doing some R&D on the product, and we had finished up, and we were going to go put like a normal faucet on there and just drink. Well, we forgot to untap the keg. And so took the faucet off, and it was like a laser beam, like 30 feet across our apartment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. That would probably be the most PC story that I could share. That's pretty good. So
all good. I mean, yeah, there's those ones that we're like, oh, not sure we should air that. Not sure we should talk about all that on the air. So I feel you.
We got a couple of those, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I probably have more than I'd like to admit, but
How you've had a good life, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, we're here for a good time, not a long time.
Amen. I love it.
But oh man, I appreciate your time, and I know you have some stuff coming up, so I don't want to keep you. But everybody, make sure it's BarTrack Beer on Instagram.
Yep.
Make sure you follow, and any breweries listening, and if you're having any issues with lines or anything like that, reach out. And we said request a demo, correct?
Yeah, please just hit us up on our website. Take a look. If you think we can help you, reach out. Even if you don't and you want to learn more, reach out. I mean, we're here to help. If we can help, great. If we can't, all good. We can still point you in the right direction if you're looking for something else.
Love it. Well, thank you so much, Brett. We'll stick around and we'll chat for a minute off air, but I really appreciate your time and glad we got to do this.
Yeah. Cheers, brother. Thank you so much.
Cheers, man.
Yeah.
All right. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, Brett's a really good dude, and I hope you guys enjoyed the story of BarTrack. Make sure you go follow him. It's BarTrack Beer on Instagram. Just like I said, really good dude, loves craft beer, knows his stuff, and they wanted to create a product, to be able to help the community, and they have. So definitely check out their stuff. Follow them on Instagram. Now let's jump into some questions here. Let's see. I know I have them. I have written down. And it's funny. I think Chu asked like 8 questions when we did it, but there was, like I said, I got a lot of the same questions here. It's like, about 8. Well, because I wrote them down. All right. One was, what made you start your podcast? Honestly, it was the being a part of Taps and Tailgates, and I know I've talked about this before, but yeah, it was being a part of Taps and Tailgates and wanting to continue this journey, even though my buddies didn't really want to do it anymore. But yeah, that was like the big thing in, me trying to keep like the name Taps and Tailgates, but it wasn't the same. And, and it took a conversation with my brother Jake, or Jizzy. It took a conversation with him to kind of realize like, man, yeah, it's not the same. I was kind of clinging to something that wasn't there anymore. Because, what made Taps and Tailgates was me, Nav, Carrie, and myself just shooting the shit, talking sports, drinking beers, or reviewing beers. So, I mean, it was always something to look forward to. Like it was always fun for me. But I mean, to their point, like they didn't want it. It didn't feel like, I mean, it felt more like a job to them. And to me, it's never felt that way. So yeah, but yeah, that was the reason for starting the tap room and, finally making that name change and stuff like that. Another one was, this one made me laugh. And this one, I wrote this one specifically down for Chew. He says, Chew, you're really that cool. You're one of the coolest motherfuckers out there, man. I care about you, man. And I appreciate, all the great feedback, and going back to the original unsung episode 1 of the tap room. Even if I go back and listen to it, it's like, I enjoy the episode. It's not about that. It's about the stupid intro song that I used for that one. I can't remember what it was, but it just wasn't good. I mean, I think I changed it like week 2 or like episode 2 or 3. I can't remember. I was just so like lost and trying to figure out how to do everything on my own. But, Chew, yeah, he sent me a message. He's like, hey man, like, I just want you to know, I really enjoy your show. I really enjoyed your episode. And, and I went to Unsung, because of your show. And that meant a lot to me because I didn't have a ton of confidence at that point. I felt like I was doing okay, but that was like, yeah, it was like the first couple of weeks, I was just kind of nervous and wasn't really seeing the downloads yet or anything like that. Obviously, it was only 2 weeks in, it's still early. But I was always worried because I kind of I thought I had a built-in audience really with Taps and Tailgates. But then when the switch happened, it did a little bit, but it wasn't much. But yeah, but Chew really like that. I mean, honestly, man, you really like boosted my confidence because it made me feel like, that I was doing something right. So I really appreciate it, man. And you are really cool. I think he asked a few of them, but there was, like I said, there's a lot of the same ones. Him and somebody else asked me if I ever planned on doing any live recordings. I've thought about it. I probably won't be for maybe another year or so. I'm still just since I rolled out the t-shirts and stuff like that. I'm trying to take things slow. But what I will say is I am thinking at the end of the year, I will start doing video. So I'm going to get a couple of GoPro type cameras and shoot it like that. Or maybe just, like, I don't know, I'm still working out the kind of, or ironing out the details for that. But the plan is to do video. So I will do video. I mean, when I'm doing remotes, it'll be easy because then I can just upload the video that's already on there. But if I'm doing at the brewery, yeah, I will have video recorded there and then upload that to YouTube. So there's something there. We'll see. I mean, it's like I said, I'm not trying to rush anything. I will, but that is the plan currently. Another one I had was, yeah, someone asked me like about, what it was like just like reaching out or like to get some of the people on the show. And I think Chew asked that, and like 3 or 4 other people asked that too. I mean, there was no real trick, honestly. It was just, I reached out. I just took a risk. And first, obviously, Mike being the first one. But I think that, like, talking to Mike initially and Unsung and him being, like, so respected in this industry, like, him being willing to do that and, us post, him posting stuff on their Instagram, I feel like that almost legitimized this, like, in a way. Like, I don't mean for it to sound that way, and I hope it doesn't sound weird, but I feel like they saw like, oh, well, Mike did it, and then, then I was able to talk to Rick, and, I was able to talk to the guys in Noble. I mean, and look what that's, that relationship right there. I mean, with them, and then them, just going down the list really, and being able to just reach out to people and talk to different people, like even like someone like Chelsea Tessier over at Polyrhythm over in Edmonton. Like, it was just, yeah, I was like, I just reached out. I was like, man, like, and then, I don't want to go all the way back right now. But yeah, I think that kind of did legitimize things. I mean, it made people think like, oh, he's talked to these other people. And even before that, I feel like maybe because it was right before I changed it from Taps and Tailgates, talking to Augustine over at Brujeria and talking to Josh over at Brew Yard and even the guys at 3 Iron. over out in Colton. So, I mean, really great people. And I think the mic one really legitimized things. So I think that's probably the best answer I could give on that one. Let's see. What do we got here? One was like, what do you like the most about the podcast? Honestly, just hearing people's stories, and I mean, I love the craft beer side, and I posted a reel, the other day talking about it because that's a question I do get quite a bit of, like what the podcast means to me and what's my favorite part of it. It's just hearing people's stories. Like it's weird, and I don't think I've ever thought. I mean, I never really thought about this until right this second. Yeah, my grandpa always used to tell stories, and me and my buddies, we tell stories. So I always love hearing it, and I love to tell stories myself. So I love hearing the story, like their stories and how they did it. And I mentioned in the reel, if somebody putting up their mortgage, or like in this case, like Josh Hamilton from Hamilton Family Brewery selling his house, making that 80 grand that he said he needed, and bam, open his brewery. And now they're building an even bigger one. So how freaking cool is that? So I would probably say, yeah, that would be the thing for me. Like that would be one of the favorite part, or the part I love the most. Let's see what else we got. One that I had was like, have you ever had a bad interview? No, I mean, I don't think it was bad. It was just, I mean, maybe I didn't make them feel comfortable enough. I'm not going to say who, but it was just, that would probably be the only thing. Like, I mean, it's my job to make them feel comfortable, but I just, I wanted to, and I was so excited about it, but, excited about the interview, but it's okay. I mean, stuff happens. Like, I'm never going to like hold it against anybody. Like I said, it's my job to get, to be able to get them to feel comfortable and want them to feel comfortable. I don't want them to ever feel like, oh, like, what am I doing right now? I just love hearing their stuff. But I mean, sometimes it's like, they start to open up towards the end of the interview. I mean, but that's all. I mean, I always try to tell them like, hey, let's have a beer, especially if it's, we're not technically doing it in person. I will try to tell them like, hey, well, let's have like a beer or two while we're talking. So that's always helpful. Just to kind of, ease the tension. And like I said, I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable. There's two more. This one was from Chew as well. But any plans on revisiting old friends that have been on the show? Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have Ism. I'd love to have Ian from Ism. I'll probably be talking to him. We kind of sent like a weird message in a comment, but I'll be talking to him probably in the next few weeks, try to set something up for maybe before their 1 year anniversary, to try to time it for their 1 year anniversary, like a release that way. But yeah, I got some other stuff coming up, and honestly, I'd love to have Chew and you and Art just to sit down. Maybe we can get Brewski in there too, or whatever. We can all hang out and have a beer or two and just kind of shoot the shit. I may be doing my first Brewers Roundtable next week, and if we're able to make it happen, it'll be Jared from Beer to Tang, Danny from Tustin, and Dario from Burning Daylight. Oh, and I want to give a quick shout out to Dario and Burning Daylight over in Lomita. Man, what nice people. Like, it was cool. Danny came down, we hung out, like we ate, we had some beers. But the conversation I had with Dario, I'm super excited for you guys to hear. That'll be out in 2 weeks. So yeah, super excited for that. But yeah, could be doing a first Brewers Roundtable. I'm just going to be there listening. I'm going to be a fly on the wall, kind of moderate a little bit, no, not really moderate. That was something stupid. But just kind of, be a fly on the wall, listen, talk to them about stuff. And it should be really fun. I'm actually really, really excited about it. So it should be a good time. Last question was, do you ever see yourself taking a break? Yeah. I mean, that wasn't the whole question. They said, do you ever see yourself taking a break? They're like, not saying you should, but, because they really enjoy the show. But, and they asked if the once a week format does get to me. Honestly, not really. It doesn't bother me at all. But I do like to have like a few weekends where I just don't have to do anything. I can just go and hang out and do whatever. So, I do like that aspect of it. I like to be able to sometimes record 2 or 3 episodes, maybe, or maybe 2 episodes in a week, or maybe like 1 month I'll knock out like 6 or 7, you know, and that'll kind of free me up for some time. Like, you know, I don't have to worry about, you know, it absolutely consuming my life. So even though I mean, I love it. I love this to death, but we all need a little break sometimes. But yeah, those were all the questions. But you know, if anybody listening, if you ever have like questions, or if you're ever thinking about starting your own show or anything, or you just want some advice, you just reach out. I will help anybody. I want to be able to, you know, I had to learn, kind of like get baptism by fire at one point when it came to all this stuff. So, I mean, I want to be able, and that does, I mean, I do like, I don't mind that, but I do want to help anybody that ever wants, you know, that ever has some questions or about equipment, about what I use or how I distribute or any of that stuff. So if you need anything, I'm here. All right. Well, and Morgan's snoring. I should be able to get that out. But yeah, I'm going to go get some beers at Green Cheek. Well, actually, I just got a haircut, so I got to wash the hair out. Go to Green Cheek, grab a brewski. Go to Noble, grab some brewskis, and see where the time takes us. Oh, yeah, and tomorrow I'm recording with Kevin Rodriguez. He's a brewer over at La Bodega, so it should be pretty fun. Excited to talk to him. Abraham kind of set it all up for me, so thank you, Abraham. Shout out to you, man. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow, but I'm going to be recording it at La Bodega, so it should be pretty good. All right. And you know what, man? And if anybody's ever listening to this, if you want to be on the show, I mean, just send me a message. We can see what we can do to work something out. All right. Well, I am out of here. Cheers. I don't even know what I was going to say. I was going to cheer you sandbagging sons of bitches. All right. Cheers, that fam. Take care.